some discussion in relation to that, but the current stage, there is no such an agreement for compensation. What I can state is that in terms of South African law, anyone who has their properties or who has their assets, there is a legal way for them to claim whatever property that might have been taken by anyone. So the procedures and the processes in the South African legal system enable such a process to unfold. But there was no discussion now, and there's no agreement. But if there is any Nigerian national who has a property, the property is in their name, it remains in their name until it has been legally and officially transferred to any other person. So I will believe if it's a house, it's a building, it will still be in that person's name. And if it's a car or whatever, it will still be in that person's name. So they will still have a legal claim. So those issues can be dealt with still in our legal system on each case, on its merits and its demerits. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sola Eneka Nolayai, for welcoming us here on behalf of President His Excellency Tinubu, for me to deliver the message of His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa from the Republic of South Africa. Indeed, the engagement was very robust, and that we reached some consensus on some issues and some we could not reach. But it's the nature of the binational and the bilateral relations of the two dynamic countries. Ongoing engagements will enable us to reach some consensus on those. The issues that we agree on is that the South African government condemns all form of xenophobia, any form of intolerance or related intolerance happening in our country, and that no South African national has got a right to take the law into their own hands. This is the responsibility of the state and the state alone. We have also raised the concerns of the South African government and the South African public with regards to some of the Nigerian nationals in our public system, particularly those who commit crime. And we must be clear, it's not all Nigerians, nationals. Some who do commit crime and who are within our system, and the crimes include drug peddling, the crime of wire fraud, and many related crimes that we are concerned about. We are also concerned about some of the nationals having taken over certain communities in South Africa, and in particular in a city called Pretoria, Tshwane, Sunnyside area. In Johannesburg, it's a city and a place called Hillbrow. And there are some areas across the country that are impacted in that negative way. We also raised the fact that the current wave has been sparked by the installation of the Igbo King in a city called Bukambo in Eastern Cape of South Africa. And we are also glad that the Nigerian High Commissioner in South Africa and the capital here assisted to condemn the incident and to help de-escalate the situation. We have also agreed that all the issues of criminality must be dealt with in terms of the law, in terms of the constitution of the country. It should not be dealt with in terms of any groups or individuals taking the law into their own hands. We have also agreed in terms of de-escalation, as the ambassador has already said, Ambassador Sole, that indeed the two countries will have to engage in a robust manner, but it must be measured. The public rhetoric must be de-escalated to enable us to zoom into the challenges. And in this regard, there is an early warning mechanism that the two countries are at an advanced stage of negotiating, which will enable us to deal with the early warning signs of the reoccurrence of this protest and the violence in particular, including in areas where Nigerian nationals will be affected. There will be engagements between the two countries, and that early warning mechanism will enable us to be able to have a structured way of engagement. And lastly, we want to thank him for having received me with my delegation and for the robust engagement that we will take the matters forward. And on the issues related to Afrophobia, as he has already said, it's an engagement that we have said that this protest and the violence that is happening is not state-sponsored. It is not condoned by the South African government. It's an action of individuals who have taken the law into their own hands. Therefore, the South African government is acting to deal with all these issues. There are levels of bilateral relations that we believe South Africa and Nigeria can reach at an economic level. On both sides, there's already companies that are playing a key role in the Nigerian economy and also in the South African economy that are playing a key role. And we also reaffirmed our long-standing bilateral relations, including the role that Nigeria played in our struggle against apartheid, which will forever be indebted. And we have to clarify and be clear that in that regard, still, the South African public remains indebted to the people of Nigeria for that role that they have played, and including some of them who were housed here in Nigeria, where they were in exile, and in many parts of the African continent. But we need to underscore that all of them who were in exile, they were not involved in criminality. All those individuals were in camps, or those who were not in camps, who were given IDs here in Nigeria, they were also very good citizens. And we are glad that my colleague ambassador here says, as and when the Nigerian government engage with the diaspora anywhere in the world, including in South Africa, they do emphasize the message of good neighborly, the message of a good visitor, which is an important message, including in the South African context. So we are glad for the engagement, and we look forward to the early warning mechanisms, and also to iron out on a number of issues of disagreements that we believe we can still find each other on. Thank you very much.
At least the last station.